Hi everyone. Oh, give me a second. Let me just mute that. Alright, how have you all been? Apologies right there. The reason that you saw me and then didn't is because this new live streaming software, it always confuses me in terms of what's streaming, what isn't before I start, so that's why I was working on some settings and you saw me when you weren't supposed to. That's why I looked all puzzled, because I was going through settings and I'm still learning how to use the software. So yeah, I'm doing good. How are all you guys? The captain is back. Movie fan says, Eric, you coughed earlier. You're not sick, are you? I'm not, but for some reason it's one of those illnesses, and my brother has it too, and my dad. And even some people on the street as I was walking around earlier outside getting some shopping and things. There's this weird thing where people just have like this cough, like that kind of cough, you know? So it's leftovers. I'm feeling great. I don't feel bad or anything. It's just the cough for some reason just comes out here and there. So, yeah, I'm not going to beat around the bush here. I'm just going to tell you guys something very quickly right now. Before I do, though, Ethan says something which is quite interesting. He goes, "Hi, Eric, lad. Can't believe I have memories watching your Versus videos when I was 12, turning 19 next month. Wild one. Wild indeed. It makes me think how young I was when I started making the videos. I must have been in my early 20s or something. I'm approaching the end of my 20s, I think next year. So, wow, that's thanks very much for that. That's actually very interesting. Shows how long I've been making these Versus videos for. And before the Versus videos, I was even making smartphone reviews and things. So, funnily enough, when I started YouTube, I think I was about 12. So, yeah, that's quite a thing, that. So, yeah, how all you guys been? Hold on a second. Now, something I want to tell you guys right now about Joker 2. Folly Ado. I did watch it on Friday, is when I saw it. That was 2 days ago. I'm writing my Versus video, and my Versus video... And my Versus video won't be out... Well, I'm working on it much quicker than my other Versus videos. I've already written like 60 to 70% of the Versus video. So there is a lot of the Versus video that I'm still writing, but I'm going to get that Versus video out quicker. So basically, I'm not going to be telling you any of my thoughts about Joker 2. I'm going to be keeping that a surprise for the Versus video. So stay tuned for the Versus video where I do Joker 1 versus Joker 2. And I'll go into detail about what my thoughts are with regards to that. Now, as well as Joker 1 versus Joker 2, I'm going to be doing that. And like I said, on this live stream, I'm not going to be giving you any of my thoughts. But I will be talking about what the Discord is and what the discussion is right now about Joker, both in the critic space, in the audience space, and then I'm going to talk about it on the box office space, you know, so what Warner Brothers must be thinking about this movie. So that's what I'll be doing. King of the Monsters, what do you mean? Did you announce the change of plans between... Oh, that! I don't need to announce that. Don't worry. Trust me, everyone will get the picture. They know that I'm making 2 quick movie reviews for yourself. And if you want me to announce that, I can announce that later, but not right now. Right now, I've got to focus on the story at hand. And this is a juicy story that's coming around. So, yeah, everyone get ready, because this is a lot of stuff we need to talk about here. I did not expect this. Quite frankly, it's not a conversation I wanted to have. I was hoping that when Joker 2 comes out, we would all be singing its praises. And I was thinking that even if it might not be as good as the first movie, it should still be a fun movie regardless. That's what I thought. But then, as I Commit Tax Fraud just says, the Joker Folly Ado is mid, but the ending completely ruined it. And Big Bash says Joker 2 is not canon to me. And Movie Fan has done a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, buddy. Started off the stream with a super chat. And he says, Eric, has the positive word of mouth for Transformers 1 and The Wild Robot made you interested to see them when they come out in the UK? Transformers 1, not so much. The Wild Robot, yes. That is a movie that, whether I'm a reviewer or not, I would go to see that. So yes, I want to see The Wild Robot, which comes out in the middle of this month for myself. Alright, so thank you very much, movie fan, for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Of course, anyone else wants to do any super chats, or you can do that with the super chats on YouTube, or the Streamlabs with the link at the top, which is what I actually prefer, because that way 100% of your donation goes to me, none of it goes to YouTube. So, with that said, let's get on to the story. And this is it. I'm not even wasting any time. We're going to jump straight into this, everyone. Now, the last time I talked about Joker 2 on a live stream, this was the Rotten Tomatoes score. 61%, and that was with 44 reviews. But we also had this, Joker Folie à Deux tracking for $70 million plus opening, well behind the first film's $96 million debut. Now, this was what the earlier predictions were, but when the bad reviews started coming in, and, you know, Joker started to get a Rotten Tomato score at like 59%, and then it started to go a bit lower, all of a sudden these projections turned from $70 million opening domestically to a $50 million opening. And, well, this is what the actual opening was domestic. A tiddly $40 million. Now, $40 million you might think is not bad, but it really is actually pretty bad. Because the industry first was saying $70 million. Well, first of all, if you look at what the first Joker made, that was $96 million. But then the industry said, well, let's go, this movie's going to be $70 million. But then after that, they said, okay, let's go even easier on it, because the reviews are coming in and they're not good. They said, alright, it'll be $50 million. And, well, the actual number is $40 million. So, even when the projections were going down, it still went below those projections. So, yeah, that is really bad that it went to 40 million. Now, on the plus side... Ooh, let me just get hold of this. There we go. Now, on the plus side, the international box office was $81 million, as you can see. So that's more than double the domestic number. So that was able to raise the number from what we thought it was going to be, from essentially what looked like 40 at the beginning, to $121 million. Well, $121.1 million to be exact. Now, this is not a great number, especially when you take into account that the first Joker made in total at this point like about 232 million, something around that. So, basically, the bad reviews and the bad word of mouth have really affected this number. In fact, the Rotten Tomatoes score here is 61%, right, with 44 reviews? Well, if you look at the number now, when I last checked earlier today, it has gone to 33%. And that is just critics. And critics weren't even that fond of the first Joker, so I'm not really paying attention to them. But then, look at the audience score. 31% audience score. That is absolutely atrocious, that is. Man, is that bad, because critics, let them think whatever they want. They were being very harsh on the first Joker for things that it wasn't. It didn't cause any violence, which is what they said. It's not a movie that was irresponsible. The movie was just a movie and people had fun with it, and they knew that, yeah, we can relate to Arthur, yeah, we feel sorry for Arthur, but clearly nothing happened, no violence happened, so people understood that he was just a character in a movie, that you could feel for him, but that doesn't mean you'll do what he does. It's the same with Penguin in the new Penguin show. You feel for the Penguin, you understand why he's doing what he's doing, you know, you totally get it, but you wouldn't dare do it. So it's just a simple thing. It's like understanding the villains, or making the villains the main character of a movie or show. It's such a simple thing to understand, but the critics saw it, and not just the critics, but even a lot of other we all know what they are. They're all, like, extreme left people. You can always dunk on extreme right people, but listen, here you're dunking on extreme left people. They just thought that, yeah, this will cause violence. Or what I think it was, is that they didn't like that the movie was trying to show compassion towards a white guy who's going through mental illness. If you change Joker from being a white guy to a person of color, or a transgender, or a gay person, they immediately would have said, yeah, this is a great progressive story. But as soon as you put a straight white person in there who is going through issues, all of a sudden it felt like to them that this was a movie for incels, and it was a movie causing violence, and it was offensive, and all this and that. To me, I always say this, some people benefit more from being, because of their race or whatever. Some people benefit more in this world, but ultimately, we are all in this shitty world together, and we all have to live by its shitty rules, and it all has an effect on us. So, I thought that was a stupid case they were trying to make. So, critics not liking it, who gives a shit? Like, seriously, I don't care if the critics liked it or not. The audience, however, the fact that they don't like it, that is a big, big problem. Like, I can't emphasize enough how much of a problem that is. Because the audience that ultimately made the first movie, the first Joker, get to $1 billion, they have come to this movie and they've given it this rating. It means they're not happy. And before I go into the rest, the Time Shadow has done a £2 donation. Thank you very much, buddy. Says, I like a lot that most people don't anyway like Venom. Oh, you like the fact that a lot of people don't like Venom? Okay, that's understandable. No worries about that. Now, let me just bring my emails up, so if anyone donates via Streamlabs, I've got it all coming up here. Alright, so. Okay. So, basically, yes, audiences do not like it, and let's further elaborate on why audiences don't like it. So, so you've seen here that it's got a 31% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. Well, it has also got a cinema score, and the cinema score is a D. A D cinema score. No superhero movie has gotten a D cinema score before. In fact, I think the only one that has gotten a D cinema score before was... actually, no, I don't think I've heard there's no superhero movie that has gotten a D score before. I think there are movies that should have gotten a D score. Apparently, Catwoman back in the day got a B, if you could believe it. And a lot of the crap Marvel movies have gotten like a C. And even Madam Web and Morbius got a C, which makes no sense to me. They should have gotten a D- as far as I'm concerned. I think the only reason they probably got a C is because people probably had fun laughing at it, and these are very memeable movies, so maybe that's why there was some enjoyment there. But with Joker, there is no enjoyment in terms of the overall thing. Money here says it should have gotten an F. I don't think Cinema Score has an F. I think their lowest is a D- or something. So, yeah, the score on the Cinema Score from people is very bad. And now, this is a score that I tend to follow the most, and this is the IMDb user score. And it's got a 5.3 out of 10. That is what you get when you have, like, mediocre or bad movies. You start to get this number right here. So that's very bad. And then, like I said, we've got a 31% from audiences on Rotten Tomatoes. So, yeah, damn, this is bad. This is not good at all. A lot of people here are saying they didn't like the ending. Now, that is the common consensus that people seem to have, is they do not like the ending. Now, you guys can all feel free to comment below. Is it the ending that really killed the movie for you? Because when I saw the movie, I felt like there were two endings. There was an ending for Joker, and there was an ending for Arthur. There are two endings in the movie, is how I would describe it. Don't worry, there won't be any spoilers being talked about in this video for those of you that haven't seen it, so don't worry. I'm not going to be giving you any of my thoughts on the movie. I'm just going to be telling you what the consensus seems to be and what other people think of the movie. HRY100 says, yes, to me the ending killed it for me. Grimace, yes, I will do a review. I'll be doing a versus video. I'm like 60-70% done writing the script, so I'm going to be doing a versus video. In fact, if I wasn't doing this live stream, I would have been working on that versus video. And my Beetlejuice versus video is coming out as well, so I'm deep into editing the Beetlejuice video. Tris Studio says Joker 2 ending is horrible. Money says yes. Tris Studio says the movie is a 3 out of 10. Dark Lord says I haven't seen Joker yet. Supersonic, don't worry, it's great that you've joined now, so don't worry. Money says I was waiting for a versus video. Well, that's good, you're gonna get it. Lion Main Man says the movie was garbage. Big Bash says the writing destroyed it. Fireboy says the movie is a 3 out of 10. Jess says Joker 2 ending killed the movie and it gets a 1 out of 10. Joker 1 should have been a standalone film because it was a beautiful movie on its own, says Grimace. I agree, but I also disagree. I don't mind that Joker got a sequel. Joker, I think, had there were plenty of opportunities for it to basically make a sequel and progress the story. The thing is, it didn't give people the story that they wanted. That's what the consensus seems to be when you read the internet. People, I think, often say the wrong thing. They're saying, no one asked for this. Like, no one wanted a Joker sequel. Well, whereas I disagree. I think a lot of people were intrigued by the idea of a Joker sequel. They just didn't like the direction it went with. That's how I would describe it, based on what I've heard of people's thoughts and opinions. The Time Shadow says, I just know that I'm going to come out of the film finding it very underrated. Slasher Fanatic says the ending pissed me off. That seems to be the consensus. A lot of people seem to be, you know, mad at the movie by its ending. I even heard about that after coming out of the Venice Film Festival. Can you believe the movie got like an 11-minute standing ovation with the ending that people seem to hate? Just goes to show they just applaud for nothing at these festivals. Remember when the first Joker had made news for getting a 7-minute standing ovation at the Venice Film Festival? King of the Monsters 2021 says still did not see it. The Devil's Gamer says, did Todd Phillips have a brain malfunction? I'll talk about all of this in my Versus video. I've got a lot to say about the movie. Sonic says, F you, Joker, for making me rather watch The Acolyte. Wow, that is... Because I've seen The Acolyte. I hated it. So the fact that it made you want to see The Acolyte, that is bad. King of the Monster says, when should we expect the Versus video? I don't know. I don't like to say exactly, because I always like to make the best video I possibly can. So I'm not putting myself on a time schedule, but I want it to come out quicker than my usual Versus videos. So don't worry, there will be Versus videos. Versus video will come out quicker than usual for this one. Key Wayne Hill says, I wonder how Harley Quinn is in the movie. Movie Fan 2002 says, this is Megamind 2 all over again. Really? I've not seen Megamind 2. Does that have a crappy ending? Because I heard people were just pissed off with that movie in general for even being made. People were looking forward to this Joker movie. Trevor, I'm not giving my thoughts on it. You're going to have to wait for my Versus video. Rehan, you can have fun doing this, but you're spamming now, so don't ask me for Pacific Rim again during this stream, okay? King of the Monsters says, also, aren't you working on 2 other Versus videos in Beetlejuice and Puss in Boots? You ain't overworking yourself, are you? I am. I'm having fun in between, so I'm giving myself breaks, but yes, I'm working on multiple videos in between. Hi, Sarah, what's up with you? She goes, what up, guys? Robin says, one of the worst endings ever. Joker 1 is such a rewatchable film. Eric, I haven't seen the movie yet, but I have seen spoiler reviews, and before hearing about the ending, I was turned off at once at hearing about that disgusting scene. Yeah, there is one scene which very much implies something, and I was thinking to myself, did they actually imply that? Oh, yeah, a lot of you guys are not happy with this movie. It's just reading the chat, it does seem brutal. You know what? I'm going to put in a poll. I'm going to put in a poll, everyone, and let's see. Okay, here we go. What did you think of Joker 2? good, bad, and we'll put a third option. Haven't seen it. Oh, you're watching Severance, Sarah. That's a show that I've been meaning to see at some point, but I've been too busy. Good, bad, haven't seen it. Alright, so go ahead and put in your votes on the poll and we'll see what happens. No, Spirit Hero, I've not seen his review. It did pop up on my recommendations, but I've not seen it myself, no. Okay, so yeah, go crazy on that poll. No, that's okay, Sarah. Thank you for joining the stream in the little bit of time you've got, in the little break you've got. Appreciate that. But yeah, everywhere I look, people don't seem to be happy. There's only some people that seem to be happy, and those are the crazy left-wing people that were mad about the first movie for, like, they were saying it was a toxic movie, and even they were saying, if you want to go watch that movie, you're a toxic man, baby. Do you remember when they were saying all that stuff? Like, if you like this trailer, you're a toxic person, and all that bullshit. Those people were saying that those people were saying that they really liked the movie, or what they thought it was good, and they'll still try to do a thing where if you didn't like it, then it means you're this or that. So yeah, it's the crazy people out there that basically like this movie. Yes, Big Bash, I did see his review, and like I said, a lot of people are not happy with it. I wonder if Chris Stuckman would review it now. Monster King says, it was beautifully shot though, Eric, right? Yes, it was beautifully, beautifully shot. In fact, when I was watching it, the opening sequence, I'll say this, was so beautifully shot, and it shows Arthur's routine where he's in prison, all in one shot. And I was like, this is beautiful. Like, movies should still study the craft of how this film was put together on a technical level, because it still was absolutely beautiful. So, phenomenally shot. I cannot sing his praises enough for how beautiful the movie looked. But that's the movie, how it looked. How it was written, you know, the organization and structure of the movie, those are separate things to discuss. So yeah, cast your vote, and let's see, did you think the movie was good, bad, or have you not seen it? I've not seen Megalopolis, but damn, isn't that not good? That 2 movies have not worked out well recently, and they've gotten like very bad. They've got very bad scores and very bad box office numbers, and they're coming from people that have got a prestigious reputation. Sarah says, were the songs good at least? I'm not really a fan of musicals myself, so hearing the songs in there, they were sung well, I thought, by the voice of, like, the voice of Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix. Their voice was very good. But it's not my kind of singing in general, the kind of singing they do. I always find that kind of singing cringe in any movie. The way they do it is very Broadway style they're trying to go with. And I usually think that they're cringy. But I thought they were sung well. There was one in particular that I thought was pretty cool. But in terms of how it fits into the movie, you're going to have to wait to see my review to see what I think. Okay, we're going to close the poll now. That's 65 votes, but there's 81 of you in the stream, so all of you try to vote on it, and then we'll end the poll in about a minute. Sarah says, I love musicals on stage. Musicals in movies aren't that good, though. Yeah, it all depends. Trevor Bistro says, at least it's a better musical than the Marvels, right? Oh, yeah, heck yeah. If you're talking about, I forgot all about the Marvels having that dumb musical scene. That was just, that, for those of you that think Joker 2 is bad, that song number in the Marvels was a whole other level of cringe and bad. What is she doing? She's going with the flow. What a stupid thing to say that was. The Devil's Gamer says, close it. I don't want the good percentage going up. That's alright, Rehan, just don't do it again. Oh yeah, the Marvels is cringy, says Triss. Yeah, totally. Alright, let's end the poll. So let's see. What did you think of Joker 2? 57% of you haven't seen it, 36% of you thought it was bad, and 5% of you thought it was good. Okay, that's interesting. Sarah says, sadly, I have to leave again, my friends. Excited to rewatch this, though, because I'm curious. Okay, bye. Take care, Sarah. Enjoy the show with your parents. Whew, so yes. As you can see, even out of my audience, a lot of people don't like it, or they haven't seen it. And a big reason that the box office is also not as big as it could have been is because a lot of people just didn't see it. The word of mouth became so bad for this movie, and it only got worse, that people just didn't feel like they wanted to go out and watch it. It actually convinced them not to go see it. And I can convince you better as to why I think the box office is still not going to be good. It's certainly not going to make $1 billion like the first movie did. But I'm going to tell you what. The first Joker, the reason it did end up making $1 billion is because the word of mouth was so good and people went to go see it, and the people that had already seen it wanted to see the movie again so they could find out what was real, what wasn't, and also because the movie was just so good in of itself. It was a rewatchable movie. So people went to go watch it again for that. But here's the thing. The word of mouth with Joker 2 is so bad and is only getting worse and is spreading like wildfire. And once you've seen the movie once, you will not want to see it again. You might want to see a couple scenes, but that's something you can do when it hits digital or streaming. But you are not going to want to watch the whole movie again after you see the movie the first time. Especially when you see where it leads, which is the ending that everyone seems to be pissed off about. So, yeah, it's, I think the box office for this is just going to get worse as the month goes by. And I don't think they're going to... It'll be interesting to see. Apparently they need to hit $500 million to break even on this movie, or to make a profit, because the movie cost $200 million, and that's largely because they paid Joaquin Phoenix and Todd Phillips a lot of money to come back, and of course they had to pay Lady Gaga as well. So that's why the movie like skyrocketed with this budget from the first movie, which is about 55 to 70 million. This one went up way more. So, yeah, that's ultimately the reason why. I don't think the movie is going to do good. Joey says, the fact that Venom The Last Dance is expected to make more money than this is unbelievable. Well, first of all, Venom is safe. It's a PG-13 movie. They're going to get more kids in, so they're going to get... they're going to get a lot more people coming in. Second of all, it's based on a franchise. Third of all, it's just based on Venom. The character resembles nothing of Venom besides the design. But that'll get people in. And plus, they're two completely different movies. One is meant to be more intellectual, which is Joker, and the other one is meant to be just a dumb movie. Excuse me. Ugh. It's like pepper is in your throat and you just start to cough here and there. So yeah, the movie is... It's such a shame because it has all the qualities. Like when you look at the marketing... Even looking at this, look at this poster that you see on the screen that I've got right here of them on the stairs. That scene is not even in the movie. What the scene is actually supposed to be doing is mimicking the scene that we saw in the trailer where they're both walking to the courthouse dressed up and doing their dances. But that scene wasn't in the movie either. So there's a couple scenes from the trailer that they're trying to put in their marketing and it's not even in the final movie. It's so bizarre. So the marketing campaign for this movie was very off. I think that's another thing that annoyed people. The marketing campaign made you believe that it was going to be Joker and Harley against the world, causing havoc and mayhem wherever they go. But the movie is not that, even though the marketing showed that and illustrated that, and even this poster illustrated that. So, yeah, it's a lot. I would say the marketing also threw people off because they thought they were going to get one movie, but then they got a very different kind of movie. And I think if the marketing was more upfront, that might have helped. But at the same time, people do seem to say that the movie is boring, is what I hear a lot of people say. And of course, the ending, in the end, they feel like that wasn't a good ending. So, yeah. Funny says, that's why I feel suspicious of the Joker 2 marketing. Yeah, the marketing is weird. Big Bash says Batman and Robin is better than this. No, it's not. I'll say that. People are making comparisons saying Madam Web is better, Morbius is better, Batman and Robin is better. I disagree. Those movies are just bad all the way through. Bad performances, bad effects, bad everything. Joker 2 at least has great cinematography, fantastic performances, and, the movie is still very fun to look at. There's still a lot of great stuff to look at in the movie visually, so that alone raises the movie above those other movies to me. But I'm not telling you what I think about everything else. Joey Nichols says Rise of Skywalker is better than... No, it's not. I still don't think that either. Rise of Skywalker, the way it ended the movie, as if this was like a big... Like, this is a big celebratory moment. I was like, no, it's not. And the way they brought the Emperor back, that was its own mess, is what I'm going to say. Anime says, I'm guessing you gave it a 5 then. I'm not telling you what score I gave it. Thing is, I'm telling you what... I'm mainly talking about what everyone else is saying. I'm not telling you what I think. You'll know what I think when the Versus video comes out. So, like I said, I'm keeping my thoughts on the movie a secret until my Joker 1 versus Joker 2 Versus video comes out. Then you'll know my thoughts. But I'm talking about what everyone else thinks of the movie, what the general word of mouth is. And yeah, there's a lot of disappointment with the film. I commit tax fraud. I'll never get tired of that name. Says, Madam Web is so bad, it is funny. Joker 2 is bad, but it pisses you off. It ain't as bad as Madam Web in my opinion, but I get why people hate it. Yeah, that's what I said. When you watch the movie, you will get why people hate it. And like I said, the movie has 2 endings. One for Joker and one for Arthur Fleck. And I'll tell you what I think of both of those endings in my Versus video, which, like I said, is 60 to 70% already written. Then I've got to do the rest, and then I've got to edit the video together and everything. And you'll also get my Beetlejuice 1 versus Beetlejuice 2 video, which is also coming. The Dark Lord says, so while all you guys who saw Joker 2 suffered, I saw episode 3 of The Amazing Digital Circus, and it was an easy 9 out of 10, 25 minutes of quality animation. That's great, buddy. Although I think it's more interesting to say that while Joker 2 is coming out, while getting the Penguin episodes of that releasing, which is basically releasing around the same time as the Joker 2 is out. Except everyone seems to love the Penguin, and everyone seems to hate this. Big Bash of the Dark Knight is better. Of course it's better. That's my #1 favorite movie. Jess says, Joker 2 is fun. Are you sure, Eric? I'm not saying Joker 2 is fun. Why are you saying it as if I said it's fun? If I want to have fun, then Venom 3 is a more comfortable, fun, and safe movie for me than a traumatic and controversial Joker movie. I don't even know why you're bringing Venom 3 into this. Venom 3, I think, is also going to be a piece of shit. It can be fun, but I still think it's going to be bad. I didn't like the first Venom. Venom 2 was complete garbage. And Venom 3, the way they're building it up, this is it, Eddie, this is going to be the big ending, is just nonsense. It's pathetic. I think it's they're acting like they're building up to the ending of a franchise that people have loved for all these years, and they haven't. People like the first movie. The second movie was just a big mess and disappointing to everyone that it didn't get an R rating. And now we're going to get the third movie. That's basically it. It's not a big, hyped-up franchise, Venom 3. It's going to be a movie that will come and then it will go. It'll make its money and then no one will talk about it ever again. That's how it's going to be. Jess, I know it's your opinion, but you've been commenting this to me for even before Joker 2 came out on Patreon. So, it feels like you're trying to force the opinion. Even in this chat, keep bringing Venom 3. You can talk about Joker 2 on its own without comparing it to Venom 3 every single time. Let's see. The G Gamer says, for me it was the exact opposite. Venom 1 I didn't really like, and Venom 2 I thought was more interesting. Oh, okay. I did think the action was better in Venom 2, but the interactions and things I thought was just so much goofier. Reminded me of Batman and Robin in one scene when Venom went to that rave party or whatever with all that Joel Schumacher lighting. That was so weird. Okay, Spirit Hero says, honestly, Joker 2 appears to be in the same boat as The Last Jedi was. Excessive style over terrible and little substance and a horrible plot twist. Interesting. I've heard people compare it to The Last Jedi. The Time Shadow says, I often get confused by why people hate a majority of unpopular films. I doubt Joker 2 will be any different. I don't know, I think if you watch Joker 2, you will probably understand why people don't like it. Hypers, no, I've not seen Transformers 1. It's not out in the UK yet. Craven will be better. We'll see. I doubt it. Those movies are crap in their own way. MovieFan2002 says, I hope the Batman Part 2 doesn't get panned like this. I hope so as well. I have more trust in Matt Reeves, but I'm hoping that movie is great. Jason says, Eric, how are you watching The Penguin in the UK? Sky. There's two ways. You can watch it on Sky, and I think it was also Now. And I've been watching it through a friend, so that's how I've been watching it in the UK. Which is good, because I was afraid I would have to go through some VPN or something first, but thankfully I didn't have to do that. Supersonic says, sorry Eric, I gotta go. No problem, buddy. Take care. Thanks for joining the stream. Who should the villain of the Batman Part 2? I don't know. There's rumors that it might be Hush, or it might be Mr. Freeze, or it might also be the Court of Owls. There's a lot of rumors going on right now. Penguin we know is going to be in the second Batman movie, but we'll see to what extent. Also, Joker is also supposed to be in there as well, from what I've heard. So, yeah, that's something very different. But that's a separate conversation. We'll see what happens with the Batman. But I have faith in Matt Reeves. But then again, I did say I had faith in Todd Phillips, but Todd Phillips was always not trying to make a proper Joker movie. He was always trying to make an Arthur Fleck movie, trying to get a movie through the system that people would usually not watch, but they would watch if you associate it with a comic book character. That's why he did Joker. But Matt Reeves is making a Batman movie, and he knows he's making a Batman movie, and he knows what people would want with a Batman movie. So here's hoping Matt Reeves actually really gives us that. That's what I hope. The Time Shadow says, didn't Joker get set up at the end of the Batman? Yes, he did, and he'll be in the next movie. That's what I've heard from Matt Reeves. Crazy Cat Lady has done a $5 super chat. Thank you very much for the super chat, Crazy Cat Lady. Well, I always call you Nice Cat Lady. Generous Cat Lady. I make videos, watch them soon. I haven't Joker 2 yet because my dog had surgery, and I'm scared to leave her alone until she heals. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Crazy Cat Lady, although I find it funny that you have a dog, even though you got Crazy Cat Lady in the title. I feel, I wish the best for your dog, and I hope that your dog does get better. Which the Dark Lord also echoes my sentiments. He says, hope your dog gets better. So, I'm sorry to hear that. I really do hope your dog pulls through. Classic Brickman says, I want to see the Condiment King being the main villain in the Penguin. Yeah, I think he would just get killed off very quickly. Jordan Smith says, apparently Andy Serkis is playing Null in Venom 3. That's what it seems like is going to happen, so we'll see. Grimace says, how many times have you seen Joker 1? I've seen it countless times. I've seen it countless times too. Jake has entered the chat. Hi, Jake. Thanks for joining. One of the others of you said greetings as well. Where are you? Masquerade. I hope I've said that right. Ooh. The Devil's Gamer says, who is Null? Null is the character that controls all the symbiotes, and he's only been introduced in the comics a few years ago, and they're now adapting him into the movie, and what do you know, there was a controversy that came out because the person that created the character is not getting any kind of compensation from Sony, and they're just taking his character. So, yeah, sucks, as it would from Sony. But I bet you Avi Arad will get a big, huge paycheck for doing nothing. So yeah, basically, as you can see, everyone is pissed off. Everyone is mad at Joker Folie à Deux just for everything. They didn't like the kind of movie it was. They didn't like the ending, and people seem to say that the musical element doesn't work in the film. So, yeah. People ultimately are just not into this movie, and I think that's going to have a massively negative impact on the box office, because it's going to have an impact on the word of mouth, and people are just going to be saying to people, yeah, don't watch it. And I've seen some of you in the chat saying the exact same thing. So most likely they'll get their Batman fix by watching The Penguin, I'm assuming, because the numbers on The Penguin seem to be very good, and they just go higher. And even the Batman is getting more views on the Max streaming service as well, because of the Penguin. People want to go back to the Batman and see what that story is about. So, yeah, it's Joker 2. What a shame. I was looking so forward to talking about this movie and everything, and it's such a shame that we're talking about it in this context. I never expected the score to be as bad as it is, especially on the audience side. And yeah, it's a shame. It really is. And if you look at Todd Phillips, the director of Joker, if you watch interviews of him, it seems like there's a lot of times where he kind of like cracks a little, and you can just see that he's not really into it, or he doesn't really want to be there, or he's uncomfortable, or he looks a little bit down. He's not as upbeat like he was when he was doing press for the first movie. And you can tell, I don't think he expected the movie to get this kind of reception. And also, it appears from what I looked into, I heard this on, like, I think it was Puck News or something. They said that Warner Brothers didn't even do test screenings for this movie, probably because they knew people were not going to like it, and they thought that if word gets out from people that do these test screenings, they'll all say it was terrible, and they didn't want that. So I think that's why they didn't do test screenings, which is a shame, because if they did test screenings earlier, maybe Todd Phillips could have rectified the problem, or the problems with this movie. He could have taken notes on board, but he didn't, and the studio didn't. So I think the movie we have is the movie that he ultimately had at the editing booth, essentially. The editing room. The Time Shoulder says, plot twist. Eric actually loved it and is just keeping it secret until his Versus video comes out. Well, you never know. I'm not going to be telling you guys anything about what I think of this movie. Jess says, hey Eric, does a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Jess. I appreciate it. Says, hey Eric, are you excited for Avengers Doomsday and Russo's will make it work? I am not excited, but I'm more curious and excited now because they're on it. But excited is not really the word. I'm enthusiastic. That's the word. So we'll see what they do. But I still think them coming on is... They should have brought them on to do what they did the last time they were the MCU. They should have had their Winter Soldier and Civil War before they do their 2 Avengers movies. Here, they're just getting their 2 Avengers movies and that's it. It's like there's no lead-in or through line with their stories throughout Phase 4 or 5. It's just... Here's Phase 5, 2 Avengers movies, that's it. It's not, they didn't do it right. They should have called the Russos in much sooner than they did, so they could plan out how they would involve all these characters throughout the movies. But Kevin Feige clearly didn't do that, because I'm assuming he's threatened by the Russo brothers, because if they do very good, Marvel could just say, or Disney could just say, yeah, Feige, you're screwing up too much, so you're fired, we're hiring the Russo brothers now. Maybe he's afraid of that, maybe that's why he didn't do it. Jess also says, Avi Arad needs to get fired. Yes, he does. For some reason, he does all these flops and he stays on. It's ridiculous. And Jess also says, I'm sorry for forcing my opinions. I'm not toxic. I know you're not toxic, but you have become a bit too forceful. And you're asking me to look at all these memes you're doing, which are not really funny memes as much as they are your thoughts. And they come across quite aggressive sometimes. Like, Eric thinks this and then I think this. Or Eric likes Transformers, but he hates Planet of the Apes. You don't say it that way, but you have my reaction happy at looking at a Transformers bit, but you have my reaction mad at looking at a Planet of the Apes bit, which I don't, there's no funniness in that. It's just you, whether you realize it or not, it just comes across a bit mean-spirited, especially when you keep doing it. So just take it easy is all I gotta say. You don't have to be so direct with stuff, but it's okay, buddy. I'm not mad at you. King of the Monsters 2021 has done a £1 super chat on Streamlabs. In fact, I don't know if you guys heard the sound effect of when he did that. Let me see. Where is that? Here is the alert box. I don't think I have the alert box here. So let's see. Oh, the alert box is here. Oh, that's not the right one. The alert box is not here, so let me paste that here. So, buddy, if you do it now, if any of you use Streamlabs now, you'll get a nifty little animation and a cool sound effect. And the higher you donate, the more different it will be. So, yeah. So, King of the Monsters, thank you very much for using a Streamlabs super chat, and he asks, if I had a nickel for every time a DC project has gotten a sequel that has been mostly bashed by audiences, I'd have 4 nickels, which feels like a lot. Let me think. What is that? That is Joker 2 now. Aquaman 2. Shazam 2. What's the other sequel? The other bad... Oh, Wonder Woman 1984. That was it. I forgot about Wonder Woman 1984. That's how crap a movie it was. So yeah, before Nichols, wouldn't it? Now, how many sequels do you think Marvel have done that got bashed? I think there's too many to count, ultimately. Especially recently. Classic Brickman says, the Thunderbolts trailer didn't look so bad, except the generic MCU humor. The Thunderbolts trailer, I think, just looked generic. It looked like it's just a step above what you would get on Disney Plus. Like, just barely a step above. And it looked, again, no good visuals in there. And the sets that they use, that facility, looks so cheap. Let's see. Oh, hi, Rohan. Great to see you join the chat. Sonic says, Captain Eric, Joker 2 was so bad, I need to cleanse my eyes and watch Deadpool and Wolverine. How about you cleanse your eyes and watch the first Joker movie? That's probably the best one. Rahan, the dark mark around my eyes, I have eczema, so, you know, it just decolorizes my skin a little bit, so maybe that's what it is. The Time Shadow goes, wait, is Aquaman 2 hated? Yes, it is. I certainly didn't like it. I think it was one of the worst of the recent DC movies. There you go. And also, did you see, right where my webcam is, did you see the line of your name saying that you donated money as well, right where my webcam is? So yeah, you've got all that there. Alright, King of the Monsters 2021 has done another Streamlabs chat. Thank you, buddy, very much. He says, folie à deux is a French-derived term meaning madness for two. Should have been called madness for many, as it drove many mad crazy. Yeah, in fact, the movie, it means madness for two, but it also means shared madness, I think, is exactly how it translates. And when you watch the movie, you'll realize that's not exactly what the movie is, shared madness. So that's a little bizarre. That didn't even happen in the movie. So it's got a title where the title didn't even end up in the film, essentially. It's like Blair Witch 2, Book of Shadows. What was the Book of Shadows? And with Joker, folie à deux, it's like shared madness. It's like, where's the shared madness? There was no shared madness in the movie. Time Shadow says, oh, I don't mind Aquaman 2. Surprise, surprise. I think I reviewed it on a live stream. I was not a fan of the movie. Ooh, speaking of movies that you're excited of, or fans of, Trevor Bistro says, who's excited for Terrifier 3? I'm curious. I've only skipped through the first movie, and I skipped through the second movie, but I watched a lot of its scenes. The third movie, I might watch it from beginning to end, I think. That's what I'm curious about. Spirit Hero says, please respond to my question. What was your question? This is why I say if you do super chats or Streamlabs chats, it's easier for me to spot your questions, because a lot of you guys say answer my question, and I am answering a lot of questions, but it's hard to spot. Let's see. Eric, whose fault do you think it mostly was? Todd Phillips or Warner Brothers? Todd Phillips. Totally his fault. No, Time Shadow, we're not in the Q&A yet. We're still talking about Joker. There's still a lot we can talk about with regards to this, I think. The Dark Shadow... Sorry, the Dark Lord says, well, I saw Deadpool and Wolverine last week and I loved it. It needed some time to get going, but once the multiverse BS started, the film found its energy. Yeah, it did. It did take a bit to get started, didn't it? I thought once you got past the multiverse BS, that's when it got started. Like, you know, once the explanation was done and, you know, Deadpool and Wolverine were able to go do their thing, that's where it started. Fireboy says, I wish they shouldn't made a second movie in the first place. No, I disagree. I think they could have made a great second Joker movie if they gave us what they marketed, which is that Harley and Joker are out there causing a muck, causing havoc, and that is ultimately what the movie should have been about. You know, watching Arthur Fleck be the Joker now. But they didn't do that, and that's what a lot of people did not like, is that it felt like they were doing a reverse of what the first movie did, which is the first movie was about Arthur becoming Joker, and this movie is more about Joker becoming Arthur. That's what they should have marketed it as, so people knew what they were getting into. But instead, they made it seem like Joker and Harley were going to be, you know, the couple that we saw in the comics and stuff, and then it turns out they weren't, so the marketing completely lied. Rayhan says, Eric, is Joker 2 poorly written or poorly directed? I think it was not poorly directed. I think the performances and everything is great, but I'd say probably, if you're looking at where the problems are, it was more in the writing, so I'd say the writing was the problem. The approach they took is what people seem to not really like with this. Oh, hi, Sarah. Sarah says, was Harley's new backstory good? Oh, I was about to give you my thoughts. Sarah, I'm not giving thoughts just yet about that. I'm going to be doing a versus video, and I'm saving all my thoughts for that. I'm basically talking about the consensus right now, what people seem to think. I'm not letting you know what I think. But I will say, people... I've heard a mixed reaction. I've heard people here that like the backstory, but I've really heard people that don't like it. So I think more people were not fond of her backstory. And there is one point it doesn't make sense with one thing. I will just say it's when she steals that TV. When you find out what her backstory is, it's like, why would she steal a TV? That's all I'll say about that. Rohan says, I give this movie a 4 out of 10. Mediocre in an unnecessary sequel and horrible ending. Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix's performances were great. Their performances were great. That's what I've said. I said that the directing was great. The cinematography was great. The acting was great. There's nothing I can complain about in that regard. It's like, that's really good. So that alone makes it better than movies like The Marvels or Madam Web or Morbius. So that alone, I'd say, makes it better. Tyler Edwards says, what was the action like in Joker 2? It was cool when it happened, but it all depends on if you're invested in the writing at that point, I think. Because, but thing is, there was hardly any action in the first movie. It was really just a little chase sequence, wasn't it? So, yeah, that's what I'd say. It was more of a character piece, and this movie is also more of a character piece as well. Angry X says, when should we expect the Versus video to come out? Well, I'm 60 to 70%, let's just say I'm 65% complete with the script. So I've still got a good chunk left, but normally I would be way far behind on the script. The fact that I'm 65% done says a lot. So I've got, it means that I'm getting closer to finishing it than usual, so... yeah, there's still a lot of work that needs doing, but don't worry, in the meantime you'll get Beetlejuice 1 versus Beetlejuice 2, so there's going to be plenty of stuff for you, to basically watch in the meantime. Rayhan says, the background music, just a suggestion, the background music in some of your Versus videos is way too loud. In my earlier ones it was, but I've been trying to bring it more down in my last several, like my last 10, 15 Versus videos, I've been trying to bring them down. So if you watch my older ones, I could see how the music will be too loud, but now it's not. It's better now. The Devil's Gamer says, we were so close to getting Eric to give thoughts about it. Yeah, Yeah, I know. I know you guys want to know my thoughts, but I'm saving it for the versus video. I don't want to just say it haphazardly right now on a live stream, but trust me, there is a lot to say. And we've got another chat from King of the Monsters, who's done another £1 Streamlabs chat. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Let's see. He says... Well, he has a link for me. He says not something that he doesn't want to say out loud. Let me see then what it is that he wants to know. Let's take that. And see. Yeah, I actually will save this for the Q&A. I will save this for the Q&A. Buddy, give me a second. This is live stream 46. There we go. So yeah, I'll import that on the Q&A session. I just saved it. So we'll show everyone what you've commissioned and what you've chosen now as well for me to do. Yeah, King of the Monsters, it's live stream 46. At least when I've started numbering them. Yeah, Joe the Infant, I'm sure you're talking about Wild Robot. Yeah, I want to see that movie, but in the UK it's not out until the middle of this month. No, The Time Shadow is the same commission that King of the Monsters has done, but he's asked me to change one of the reviews to something else. That's what it basically is. Okay, the biggest I Commit Tax Fraud says the biggest problem with the Joker movies is that they're not Joker movies. He is not some evil mastermind. He is just a clown who calls himself Joker. The ending makes the first feel pointless. That's what I've also heard about the ending that people say, is that the ending kind of like just brings down the quality of the first movie. I'm not going to tell you if that's what I thought. Again, stay tuned for the versus video. But that seems to be the consensus, is that, again, people did not like what they did. And there was a theory about that going around, that he's not like the actual Joker when the first film came out. So, yeah. Jess, why do you need something to cheer you up after all the silliness you've done to me for weeks? Shouldn't I need cheering up? Why do you need cheering up for that? EJP says, I'm seeing it today and judging it by my personal opinion. That's good. That's why I went to go see it. I was like, I'm going to judge for myself. Rehan says, to be honest, I am personally amazed how you pinch out every fine detail about the movie in your versus videos. Or in my videos. Oh, thanks, buddy. I always try to make sure that every word counts, or every sentence I write counts. So, yeah. And sometimes I don't want it to feel like information overload, so I'll try to slow my roll sometimes in terms of when I'm speaking all these thoughts. But yeah, I know what you mean. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you to say. I really appreciate that, because I always try to do that. Fireboy says, so, do you hate the Joker too? I'm not giving you an answer. You're going to have to wait for my versus video. Oh, you're saying to Parker. I thought you were saying that to me. I Commit Tax Fraud says, is there any versus video that you go back on and heavily disagree with? Yes, there is one. What was it? Oh, yeah, the Joss Whedon Justice League versus video that I did. Yeah, if you watch a lot of the reviews at the time, a lot of reviewers were giving that movie praise, and I don't know what was going through our heads, but I was giving a lot of praise to that movie as well. But when you look back, a lot of us look back on our reviews and think, wow, like, how do we give the score, give the movie a score like that? But yeah, my Justice League vs. Avengers video, the first one I did, yeah, I go back on those thoughts. Jess says, Eric, if you worked on Joker 2, then what would you do to change the film and make it a masterpiece? Well, first thing I would do is I'd make it just like what the trailers advertised. You'd make it a movie about Harley and Joker going out there causing a muck and causing all this mayhem. Because that's not what the movie is actually about, even though the trailer made it out like that's what it was going to be. The marketing completely deceived people. People wanted to see the movie that the marketing was showing and selling us, but then the actual movie was completely different from that. So that is what I would say the problem is that they really should have gotten them in. Maybe shown all of that stuff they were doing, Harley and Joker, like all the mayhem they're causing, and then in between in the movie they would cut to the courtroom scenes, and then, they would go back to what was going on and everything. That's what they probably should have done. Joe says, if Disney produced Joker 2, somehow Murray has returned. Yeah, they would do something. But yeah. It is interesting as well. The first movie had Robert De Niro, big actor, big name. The second one doesn't have that. I'm not saying you need that, but the second movie I don't think has that big name actor in there. Which is interesting. The marketing team, Shazza says, marketing team made a more appealing film out of the sporadic footage they got to smush together. Yeah, but they made a very deceiving marketing campaign. That is the problem. Rayhan says, gonna skip the actual movie and consider watching your versus video. Alright, cool. It will be a spoiler video, so yeah, you'll get all the juicy bits and all the information that you're gonna want to know about. Parker says Alec Baldwin was initially casted as Thomas Wayne in first movie, but had to drop out due to scheduling conflicts. Well, thankfully he was taken out because I can't see him as Thomas Wayne. The guy they got, I thought he was very good that they got. Joe says, feel bad for Lady Gaga. She can act, but she needs a better script or movie. Yeah, she's not been having a good stream of movies, has she? She was in that Gucci movie, and now she's in Joker 2. So, yeah, things are not looking good for Lady Gaga. So, yeah, that's not so good for her, but yeah, I don't even really know what else to say to that. I think this is not going to look good for her. I think it will probably it will have an impact, I think, on her career. Let's put it that way. Brandon Tran says, would Joker 2 been better or not if they included cameos of less famous Batman villains, Victor Zsasz, Professor Pig, Firefly, Maxie Zeus, and Lockup? No, I disagree with that. They did have Harvey Dent in that, and Harvey Dent in it, and he's in the marketing as well, so we all know he's going to be in it. I thought his inclusion was a good one. It made sense in the movie why he was in there. Velka says, who do you think is the best choice for Mr. Freeze and Hush in the Batman 2? My choices for Hush would be Warren Cole, the villain Rafe in Uncharted 4, while Mr. Freeze is Giancarlo Esposito or Ray Fiennes. I have not really thought of any casting choices. I don't think I've got any good ones, so I wish I could give you some, but I don't have any. Hush, I'd want him to be Robert Pattinson. You know, you want Robert Pattinson to basically be like an evil version of himself, kind of like what's going on in that new movie he's in, except it'll be two different versions of what looks like Batman. So Hush, I'd want it to be Robert Pattinson, because the whole point of that character is he has plastic surgery to look like Bruce Wayne, so we don't see what his original face looks like unless they show us what Tommy Elliott looks like. Rayhan says, I know myself would enjoy your video more. Oh, that's cool to know. I'm glad you'll enjoy it. Also, Rayhan, when did you start watching my videos? Have you always been a viewer, or did you just recently find my channel? I'll be curious to know. The same with you, Joe. Have you always been a viewer of my channel, or have you just recently found me? Status Master, I've not seen Transformers 1. Reason being because it's not out in the UK yet. But when it does, I'll consider watching it then. Oh, Rayhan's been watching me for 1 year. Oh, cool. Joe says, just recently found you, mate. All right, nice. What did you find me on? Was it a recent Versus video I did? What was it? I'm curious. Because I do notice when there are new names that pop into the chat. So I like to always just, remember you guys and keep you in my head. So this is how I usually remember. Lee Dilly, pitch for Joker spin-off. Joke. It's about Murray returning as a hellspawn to kill Joker, Scorpion's Revenge style. That would be a completely different movie, bud. That would be. Trevor says, I've been watching you for 6 or 5 years. I know you have, Trevor. I remember your name. You've been a long-time viewer. Arthur says, I started watching you when Infinity War came out. Oh, cool. That was a long time ago. Spirit Hero says, I have to go now, Eric. See you later. See you later, buddy. Thanks for joining the stream. Big Bash says, I've been watching you since 2018. Yeah, I know. Oh, Joe says, I wasn't in the chat, but I watched your Alien Romulus video. Huh, I didn't know that the Alien Romulus video, it doesn't have too many views, that particular video. I didn't know that one actually got me a new subscriber. Oh, well, welcome to the channel, Joe. I'm glad you subscribed and that you're a member of the channel. I hope you're part of the chat family now, so we'll all remember you. Afro says, Eric Carter, please comment this. I started watching you after your Shazam review and your stuff grew on me. Oh, really? Did you watch the Shazam review recently or a long time ago? Because I did that a long time ago. Fireboy says, when I first watched you since 2017 to 2018. Oh, wow. Crazy Cat Lady has super chatted. $2 super chat. Thank you very much, Crazy Cat Lady. And you all know how much the super chats help, so thank you very much for that. She says, I have 2 cats and 2 dogs. Oh, wow. Very nice, cat lady. And by the way, I don't know if you can hear, but it's pouring rain out there. I entered your channel as early as 2018, says the Ninder. Oh, cool. Deadwolf says, imagine if James Gunn DCU flops and we will stick with the MCU. I don't think we'll be sticking with the MCU. I think if DC flops and the MCU flops, I think that's basically the end of comic book movies. You know, like the big universe comic book movies. The only comic movies that will probably stay are ones from Matt Reeves and the like. I think those will be the only ones that stay. But universes, that won't take off like you'd expect. Rayhan says, mostly I have college, so I can't keep up with your live streams, but tomorrow is off, so hurrah. Oh, that's good then. Glad you could join. Let's see. Got another £1 donation from King of the Monsters, which is very nice and kind of him. Thank you very much, buddy. I'll look at your message in a minute. Jason, I think that is too much information. I would prefer not to give that, which city I live in. Jess says, Eric, I'll stick with the Monsterverse and Matt Reeves' Batman universe. Cool. I Commit Tax Fraud says, first video I watched was your It video, but I've never really watched streams. Oh, interesting. So it might have been this topic which brought you on. Hope you enjoy the streams. Oh man, Joe, that sounds rough. Says, movie theaters are shutting down all around me. We had one movie theater. We had 2, well, one that was the most local, but we never went to it because it had poor maintenance. But during COVID, they actually shut down, which was a shame, because it was nice just knowing they were there. And when I was a kid, when they were, you know, the theater that was nice and polished, me and my family would go. So yeah, the theater I go to now is 30 minutes away, walking-wise, and drive-wise, about 10 minutes away, depending on traffic, could be more. Comic book movies have basically been the life support for cinemas for the past 10 years, says Joe. I totally agree. Even Christopher Nolan was praising the Marvel movies and superhero movies for keeping theaters going. Meanwhile, you have Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, and many others, older directors of the time, trash-talking superhero movies because they're jealous of them, that they're performing better, basically, than their movies. Because they used to be top-performing directors, but now Steven Spielberg makes movies and people don't even go to see them, like that recent musical he did. Arthur says, have you watched the One Piece live action? I have not. That's okay, Jason. Don't worry about it. The first video that I watched was the Versus video of the Justice League. Ooh, okay then. That's interesting, King of the Monsters. Fair enough. Now let me see. What was it that King of the Monsters was asking for? Are we in the story segment, says Big Bash. We're not in a story segment. We're in the Joker segment. Do you mean are we in the Q&A segment? Not yet. Plus, I like this whole backdrop of Joker being here. Let's see here. Where is his message? And I can copy the links. I will say, you've given me a lot of links on one chat. Do you know the guy known as the TF Hype guy on Twitter? This guy is hilarious. I don't know, let me see. You know that what movie was test screened a ton to audiences before release? Transformers 1. At all those test screenings, the film was universally praised, and upon release, I'm happy to report that universal praise has continued. Go see Transformers 1. I promise you, you'll love it. Oh, that's right. He's talking about the fact that Joker 2 didn't get a test screening at all before the film was complete because they knew it wasn't going to be good. Yeah, that's the article I was talking about there. That, yeah, Warner Brothers did not test screen Joker 2 to any audiences because they thought the movie was going to suck. So, yeah, they knew it was going to get bad test screen reviews going out on the internet, and they didn't want that. He's basically defending Transformers 1, isn't he? When he's basically saying that Joker didn't get good reviews, but do you know what movie did get good reviews? Transformers 1. Yeah, the guy is pretty funny, King of the Monsters. It is kind of funny. Yeah, how not much people are sitting there and everything. Do you know, what's funny is that when I saw Joker 2, there was actually... Okay, take care, Rayhan. Goodbye. Yeah, when I watched Joker 2, there wasn't many people in the cinema. There was only, like, I think about 4, 5 people, maybe 6 in total. The reason why, though, is because I went at 9:30 in the morning. And most people don't watch a movie that early on in the morning. They like to take their time, have breakfast, and chill, and then go to see the movie. Maybe before lunch or early afternoon. But I actually went and saw it so early in the morning that I'm not surprised many people weren't there. Take care, Fireboy. Thanks for joining the stream. So yeah, that's basically what went down. So I don't think that judges the whole auditoriums, but it does seem like a lot of people are not going. But I wonder if a lot of people will go out of curiosity when in the coming weeks there are not many movies coming out. At least I don't think there are. Sonic says, when I went to watch Joker 2, it was October 3. There was a total of like 17 people, and when the movie ended, there was only 4 people. Oof. I will tell you one thing. When I finished my screening of Joker, I walked down the auditorium halls, you know, when there's like different screens on your left and right, and you walk past them. And in the middle of that big hall, I actually sat on a chair, a sofa, little sofa they had. And I was writing my notes for the movie, for the Versus video, for when I get home, and I was going to come and write the script. And a guy walks out of one of the screenings, and he goes to the bathroom. And as he opens the door to the screenings, I hear a song playing in that auditorium, in that screening. And I was like, is that the Joker song, or is that a song from another movie that's on in the cinema? So I walked closer towards the screening. You know, you're not supposed to usually do this, but I wanted to have a look. I was like, is that Joker 2? I had a look. It was Joker 2. During one of the musical segments of Joker 2, a guy decided to himself, well, nothing's happening. I guess I'll go for a bathroom break. And he did. He went for a bathroom break, and then he came back afterwards. So, yeah. That does tell you what people think of the musical element. Joe says, whenever I go to an empty theatre, I just imagine a theatre full of Draxes sitting so perfectly still that we cannot detect any of them. Well, if only that were true, because when I watch movies, people sometimes just keep getting up to go to the bathroom multiple times anyway. So it's not quite that nice for me, unfortunately. Arthur says, wonder why they decided to make Joker 2 a musical. Well, technically, it does make sense. Because if I told you on paper that the first Joker is going to have a bunch of dance sequences where the Joker is dancing, we would all think, what? Joker's having dance sequences with pop songs playing, and then with violin music playing. But the thing is, it worked in the movie. On paper it sounded so bad, but it worked when Joker was dancing. It became iconic scenes. So the next step from dancing would be singing, wouldn't it? So I thought that they could actually do something with that. I thought it would have been a very, very interesting thing. It would be a gimmick for sure, but so was the dancing in the first movie. It was also a gimmick, but it really did work when it ended up being in the final movie. So I was thinking the whole musical element would also work. It would be a gimmick, and a gimmick for sure, but it would be a gimmick that would have worked. But it turns out that it didn't work to a lot of people. Oh, Adam Grunther has joined the chat. Says, don't have a lot of time because at work, but I wanted to ask, do you still consider Phoenix to be a contender as the best Joker after this movie? Well, Adam, that's a very good question. And one thing I've said in this video is that I'm not giving my thoughts on the movie because I want to give it all on my versus video, which is 65% written right now. I still think, I'll say this, I think acting-wise, they all did a phenomenal job. Joaquin Phoenix, they took a different approach with this movie, so he wasn't able to go full Joker, but when he does go full Joker, like in the first movie or this one, or when he just put that smile on his face at the end of the first one, I always see the Joker there. I just wish they would have given him an opportunity to go full Joker for a good chunk of the movie, like lots of the movie, but they didn't. They decided to make it more, what I said the first Joker was, it was about Arthur Fleck turning into Joker. What the second movie was about Joker turning into Arthur Fleck. That's kind of what it felt like, and the movie didn't honestly advertise that in the marketing. As you can see here in this picture on the poster, they made it look like it was going to be Harley and Joker causing havoc and mayhem wherever they go, but really it wasn't, and that's what I think disappointed a lot of people, and that's what they should have done, but they didn't. Big Bash says, how long is the Joker versus video? I haven't got a final runtime yet because the script is not complete, but I would say it'll be around 15 to 20 minutes. It should be around that length. Classic Brickman says, when is the Puss in Boots versus video coming out? I'm still working on that. I'm juggling those three videos right now, so I'm still working on it. Beetlejuice 1 versus Beetlejuice 2, Joker 1 versus Joker 2, and Puss in Boots 1 versus Puss in Boots 2. That's 3 videos I'm juggling right now. Have you noticed that I've not reviewed the Penguin? It's because I haven't got the time to review the Penguin individually. So I'll try to find a way to do it, but it's hard to find the time to do it. So we'll see. I'm going to try. But Penguin episode 3 is coming out tomorrow, so yeah. Maybe I'll review the Penguin when the show is complete. Maybe that's what I'll do. Batman's Gamer says, anyone hear the rumor that Dwayne Johnson is to play Apocalypse in the MCU? I've not heard of that. Oh, excuse me. Oh, another good question, Adam, when he goes, what did you think of Beetlejuice 2? My versus video is coming out. I don't want to give a lot of thoughts on it. But I will say, I love the world building. That was one of my favorite elements of the movie, and Jenna Ortega, I thought she was going to just play Wednesday again. She actually was a much more normal character, and I liked... It's such a cliche in these movies to have... It's such a cliche in these movies to have the daughter be estranged from the mother. And this movie was very much cliched in the way it did it, but there was also genuine moments in between, the estrangement that they had. So I did like that they put genuine moments. Adam Grunther says, can I ask what you thought of Willem Dafoe's character? I literally have to edit that part next. Like, in terms of putting footage in, it's hard to find footage of him from the marketing of Beetlejuice. But, to describe Willem Dafoe is, I liked it when he was being serious, but when he was trying to be the actor they were trying to make him in that's where I was like, okay, now you're getting a bit too silly. This is the corner that should be more serious, because it's got to do with these characters coming after Beetlejuice, and that should be more serious. But when they make them goofy, over the top, it just makes you think, yeah, Beetlejuice can take them out in an instant. So I thought that was a bit silly. So I love the actor, but I still think that they could have done better. Adam Grunther says, I still love the twist with the teenage boy, Jenna Ortega meets. I love that twist too. But there's a problem with it, and I'll explain that in my versus video. It's going to be in the story segment and a bit in the character segment. But that, to me, was a big surprise. And it led to Winona Ryder's character Lydia having to team up with Beetlejuice, which I thought was such a cool concept. I was like, I didn't expect that. I've not seen all the trailers. I just saw the first and second trailer. I avoided the third trailer. Third trailer apparently says it, that they team up, or there's a clip that shows they team up, but I did not see it, so I didn't know that. So watching the movie, I was like, ooh, this is fun. But there was a big problem with it, and like I said, I'll explain it in my review, in my Versus video, which the Versus video is coming along very nicely. I've put the footage in for the whole video, except for the intro, except for the conclusion, and except for the Willem Dafoe section, and I still have to complete the script for the conclusion, which is practically finished. I just need to go over it. And then I can edit it into the video, and then I'd put the music in, animate the posters, and then do all the segments and everything. And then of course I gotta put you patrons in the credits as well, which is what I also have to do. So yeah, if you want early access to my Versus videos, as always, go to Patreon or go to YouTube memberships and hit that join button, and you'll get early access to it. Adam Grunther says, as long as there's no Catherine O'Hara slander, I'm very looking forward to it, lol. What do you mean slander? Do you mean like if anyone speaks bad about Catherine O'Hara in the movie? Shaza says, so, everything except the beginning, the middle, and the end, as well as the editing, coming along well. It's funny when you put it out, when you mention it that way. Trust me, the video is like, it's heavily in production, and most likely will be the first one to come out. And by the time that one's come out, I should have finished the script for Joker 2, and then I should be editing that. But as I'm doing that, Puss in Boots should also be finished. I should be doing that. And there's another Versus video I want to get done as well, which hopefully I can get done. Ah, that's what you mean, Adam Grunther. She is a goddamn icon, and I will not tolerate any negativity towards her performance in it. Lol. Well, did I criticize her performance? I don't think I did, no. I actually was a bit put off by her performance in the first movie, to be honest with you, because she did such a great job playing just a normal mother in Home Alone, that when she was playing the goth mother, like in the first one, when she actually licks, was it her husband's nose? I was like, what weird Tim Burton weirdness is that? You took this very earnest, honest mother and turned her into like a Tim Burton-ish character. That was the one time I thought it was, I was like, that was a bit weird. But, yeah, you have to watch the Versus video to know if I give her any slander or not. Elijah says, I love your Versus videos. I'm glad you enjoy them. I love making them. They take a lot of hard work to do, but I'm so glad you enjoy them. Ooh, Joker versus Terrifier. That would be fun to see, wouldn't it? Adam says, it shows her range. She's such a great actress. Yes, she is a great actress, for sure. Like, it does show her range. I have no doubt about it. But it's just certain Tim Burton isms that a director adds, and you're like, man, you're taking the wholesomeness of this actor and character, and you're adding in all these other elements, which I'm not too keen on. Like, you're taking them away from that. But not in the fun way, in a bit of just the weird way. But yeah. Parker CS has said, like I said, big U versus small u, analogy similar to big G, small g, gods versus God. Oh, okay. Oh, Jess has done a $2 super chat. Thank you very, very much, Jess, for the super chat. I always tell you guys, super chats help, so I really appreciate that. Have you played Telltale Walking Dead? Lee is great. The first season I did, Lee was great. That was a sad ending as heck. I played it on my PS Vita, actually. The whole game. Yeah, and I played Telltale's Batman on my PS4, and I've got it for my Steam Deck now, which at some point I have to play. Sonic says, I'm gonna leave you now, so see you all. Take care, buddy. Thanks for joining the stream. Matthew, yes, I have seen Joker 2, but I'm not going to give you my review on it until my Versus video, so I'm not telling you guys what I think. Adam says, on the subject of Tim Burton, rest in peace, Ken Page, the voice of Oogie Boogie from Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh, he passed away. I didn't know that. Was this recent or was this a while ago? Because if it was a while ago, it does ring a sense of deja vu. Like, I feel like I have been aware of him passing. Jason King says, did you like Telltale Batman? I loved Telltale Batman. They have Harley in Season 2, where they make you think that she's going to be a very, like, the dominating character in the relationship, but then that changes by the end, which was great. So, yeah. I would say that. I love Telltale Batman, though. They did such a great job with Harley and Joker in that as well, when he calls himself John Doe. Adam Grunther says, oh, it was October the 1st when he passed. That is sad to hear. Elijah says, do you think Joker 2 will get into the Oscars like the first movie? I don't think it will. I think that the only way it should is with cinematography, because I thought the cinematography was great. Acting is great, but it's like you gotta have you still gotta have a story that people like in order to win something like that. But hey, if The Last of Us 2 won, why not at this point? Because they still made that game bloody win a bunch of awards that it didn't deserve. It deserved it for craft, but not for story and all that other stuff, and best game and all that stuff. That was nonsense. Adam Grunther says, now that I think about it, Batman Telltale did have a much better job at the toxic Harley and sympathetic Joker than this movie. Yeah, and Telltale Batman, Joker actually, I can't remember if he did slap Harley, but he did something where she actually took him seriously. Because before that, she was slapping him down, mostly verbally. But once something happened in there where Joker just snapped, all of a sudden she was taking orders from him, and she was second in charge and he was first, and the way they did that was so good. So yeah, they need to look more at, the games, how they did it. But don't look at the shitty games like Gotham Knights and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Do you see that new character they did? Deadshot's daughter. The fact they put her in there as a playable character, I'm like, you really have no idea what people want. Putting this Gen Z person who's... Honestly, the writers didn't even seem like they read the original story where she was like making fun of her father and stuff. It was so stupid, bad writing. Which ending do you like more in season 2? In what in season 2? Oh, well, I chose not to side with the Joker, and that led to a much more antagonistic relationship between him and Batman, and that was so cool the way it ended. How he left a mark on Batman. The mark that he left was intense and violent. Classic Brickman says, I have to go now. I'll probably come back. No worries, buddy. We'll look forward to seeing you. That makes her super impressed, and she actually respects him. He's still very much a simp for her to the end. Was he? I can't remember that. To me, he kind of snapped into Joker mode. I can't remember. Did he slap her once or something, or yell at her at a point? He did something which also made her earn his respect. Made him earn her respect. But yeah, I could see totally that Joker like slapping her around after that. He never does that. I'm probably not remembering it correctly, but I remember she had a look on her face where she was surprised by him. But yeah, I do want them to delve into that abusive relationship. Do you know what I feel like now? This might seem like, oh, Eric's being political, but I gotta say it. I think it's because nowadays they think you can't do that now. Do you know how people always say, well, you can't do that anymore? I think the toxic and abusive relationship between Joker and Harley, I think they look at it like, yeah, you can't do that anymore. I think that's what it is. Because this is an R-rated Joker movie. They totally could have delved into some of that, but they didn't. It is like what you said, Adam. It's very much about Joker simping for her. And they really should have the abusive relationship there. Adam says, they're still the DCU. They could do it there. I hope they do. But I don't know. Is it a societal thing now? Is it pretty much fair to say that people think the Joker and Harley abusive relationship is just too controversial to do now? Is that what it is? Even though they're villains, it's like if you look at what the Penguin is doing on his show, that should also be controversial because it's still not good behavior. But people understand that he's a villain doing these things, so they should be able to understand that with Joker and Harley, but they don't seem to be doing that. Do you think John DiMaggio is the most underrated Joker? He was Joker in Under the Red Hood, wasn't he? If I'm not mistaken, Tax Fraud. Was he? Can you confirm that for me? Adam says no, because they still do it in the cartoons and video games. They don't do it in the video games anymore. They don't. They did it in the Arkham games. Let's see. Adam says that Harley Quinn's show may be a comedy, but they still very much show Joker's abuse to her. Okay, that's good then. But is it done because of character, or is it done because of commentary? Because she can then just slap him back or something? Because that's the one I'm talking about. The abusive relationship where Harley is still in the relationship when Joker's smacking her around or yelling at her or scaring her. And she's still there. Because if she counters and basically doesn't have any of it, then for them that's like, see, she's speaking up against it. But if she doesn't, I think that's where they don't like it. But it's like, but that's the relationship though. But yeah. Yes, Taxrod says yes, he was in Under the Red Hood and in Death in the Family, an interactive film. Yeah, I thought he was pretty good. He's reminded me more of Jack Nicholson's than anything else, though. Adam Grunther says the whole first season of Harley Quinn is her trying to overcome her feelings for him and take him down. Okay, interesting. Oh, Saeed, it's great to see you in the chat, buddy. How you been? Parker says, I don't want the entire multiverse to be multiverse to being the MCU. Yeah, they need to stop the whole multiverse thing. Oh, I got a Dwayne Johnson who's just subscribed to the channel. Joker 2 was trash. Watched it online, didn't bother to go to theaters. Watched halfway through, it was boring, the plot wasn't moving, and I skipped towards the end. Oh wow, you did that. I think you should have watched the whole film, buddy. Like, seriously, I would have recommended it, because something happens where if you just skip to it, you'll be like, wait, what? You need to see all of it to get to that end. Then you would be able to think whatever you want, but if you don't, get to the end organically and you just skip there, you probably would have had a worse time than most people did with that ending then. Elijah says, when I'm older, I'd love to do a live-action Batman show where I would play the Joker and he'd be more of a side villain who gradually becomes the Joker. That could be an interesting concept. Adam says, the first season of Harley Quinn is genuinely a great character study for Harley. It's still very much a comedy, but it understands the character so well. Plus, Alan Tudyk is amazing as Joker. Alan Tudyk is amazing as many things. I was surprised that he's voiced as many characters as he has. He was even in iRobot, when I was like, wow, that was him. That's Sonny. I thought that was such a good voice, and it was him. Surprising. It blows my mind that he was in... It blows my mind that he was in Transformers 3 with that little goofy bit that he had. Time Shadow says, I was a kid when I saw The Dark Knight and don't remember much about it. What was the Joker's motivation? Chaos, anarchy. He was like a force of nature that came just to cause shit. And that was what was freaky about him. It's just like he was like this ghoul that just kind of came out of nowhere, that no one knows where he came out of. And all of a sudden he had this big impact. Speaking of multiverse concepts in movies, have you seen CW Arrowverse show Crisis of Infinite Earths crossover from 2019? I think I did, and I don't like those crossovers after a while. They started to become crap. It was just boys versus girls. Like, they had 3-4 Supermans on their team, and they were just saying, Supergirl, if you quit, we're all doomed. And I'm like, but you've got 4 Supermans. But the Supermans kept coming back saying, I failed. It was just a boys versus girls thing they were doing. It really was. It wasn't like that at the beginning, but it eventually became that, and it was just so annoying when they did that. We need standalone Marvel projects, Parker. I think we need projects that start to bring characters together, because it feels like their universe has grown into nothingness. Matthew says, do you think Christopher Nolan could have done Harley? I think he could have, yeah. Especially if his brother was helping him, right? Like he did in the second and third movies. Batman Arkham series or Spider-Man PS4, PS5 series, says Elijah. Batman Arkham series. Batman Arkham series is more consistent games with great storytelling. Spider-Man 2, I thought was a very disappointing game, I think. Especially the story. And especially what they did at the end. And some of the stuff that they did, which felt very, like... It felt like very, like they were trying to be very, they were trying to be very woke. There were certain things in there where people brought up very, like, interesting things where I was like, I totally see that. It's like they're trying to... the ending where they felt like they were trying to replace Peter Parker. I did not like that, what they did there. And then what they also did with Mary Jane, with her design. Because it's like they think that... And what they did with Peter Parker's design. And then they tried to change the... what was it? One of the dubs of the game. There was a lot of stuff they were doing that was dodgy in that game. And people have got their eyes on Insomniac. They are being very weird with choices they're making. Okay, need to go to uni now. Later. Take care, Arthur. Thanks for joining the stream. I appreciate it. Parker says, I'm tired of shared universes and endless homework. That's understandable. Tomorrow we're getting episode 3 of The Penguin, and I cannot wait for that. Yeah, you need to watch the movie again, Time Shadow. He was, it was a lot of a concept with Joker about where he came. How he came, what he wanted to do. He basically wanted to prove a point that there was no good in these people. And Batman was, trying to make a case that there are good in people, but Joker was constantly manipulating people and having their dark sides come to the surface. And then in the Batman himself is someone who he's supposed to be a good person, but he lets his dark side come to the surface. And by the end of the movie, he proved to Joker that, yeah, there is some good in people. And then Joker's like, yep, until this happens with Harvey Dent. And then their spirits will break completely. Like, you know, it was a very good game that Joker was doing. And he especially had fun with it when Batman got involved. Parker as the Penguin is really good so far. It is excellent so far. Far better than I had thought it would have been. It's exceeded my expectations. Which doesn't seem to be the case with what many people think of Joker 2. Classic Brickman says, I'm back, guys. Glad to see you back, bud. JWK is like, yes, I made it. We'll do the stream for 25 more minutes. We'll wrap it up at 2 hours. So if you have any questions you want to ask with via Super Chats or Streamlabs chats, by all means, go ahead and do it, and I'll answer your questions immediately. Otherwise, post them in the comments, but it will be hard for me to read all of these because there's still a lot of comments here. Are we in the Q&A now then, says the Time Shadow. Yes, we are. Jason King says, are you going to do a review on Arcane Season 2? We'll see. King of the Mon says, yes, this is Q&A time, but I'm going to leave this screen up here. So people that do enter the chat, they'll see that this is still a Joker topic, so they can see and ask questions about it. Towards the end, I'll go to the usual Patreon screen that I show you guys. But yes, Q&A time. So go ahead, ask your questions, and whatever it is you want to do. Matthew, I've answered you. I've said, yeah, Christopher Nolan could have done it with assistance from his brother, who helped write The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises with him. Time Shadow says, Stranger Things Day is exactly 1 month away, hoping for a big update. Yeah, I didn't know it was 1 month away. Speaking of Stranger Things, buddy, again, we'll still talk about it on email. Email me, and we'll talk about that Stranger Things Season 4 video that you want me to do. Lee Everett is Enter the Chat, the Walking Dead character. Yeah, he was a great character, he was. You should get coloured lights or something to indicate this special Q&A time, says Shazza. That's a very good idea, Shazza. I'll consider that, actually. Usually what I would do is this, Shazza. I don't know if you've watched my live streams, but usually I would do this for Q&As. But right now, I do like this whole Joker backdrop, so I'm doing this right now. But yeah, some sort of banner or something would be cool. Yeah, Elijah, I was not a fan of that with the Caped Crusader. I just think they should not be doing that. Is that Jess? That's changed his name, by the way, to Lee. Jess, the first time you did it was fine, but now you're doing it again, and it's not as funny if that's you doing it again. Know how not to milk a joke. Just because you did it once doesn't mean it's going to be funny again and again and again when you do it. You got to do it once and then savor that one time, you know. Eric, the thing. You can show the thing. Oh, yeah, that thing. All right. Yeah, all right then. Yeah, that's actually a good reminder. Let's bring it in. Where is the thing? I thought you were talking about the Thing movie for a second there, I was thinking. Image. Okay, here we go. There. Ugh, you've made the resolution so high. It's such a huge image. I've got to shrink down now. Let's see. Alright, guys. Quick. I've made this announcement before, but King of the Monsters 2021 wants me to make it... we've made an alteration to the commissions that he wants to do. And he wants me to basically announce it. So here you go, I'm announcing it. He commissioned that he wanted me to do the review of Passion of the Christ and of a Godzilla movie. But now he's changed his mind and he says, okay, you don't have to do Passion of the Christ, instead do Godzilla Final Wars. So yeah, you're gonna get 2 quick movie reviews thanks to King of the Monsters 2021, because he wants me to do 2 quick movie reviews of Godzilla movies. So yeah, basically that's what we got going. We're going to have 2 Godzilla quick movie reviews, and hopefully I'll get this one done for 4th of November, I think it was, what we spoke about. So, yeah, that's what's basically going to be happening. 3rd of November, that was it. I've got it written down somewhere, but I haven't got my notes up. So yeah, that's basically what's going to be happening. It's Godzilla Final Wars, I Hate Anime. The other one is a long name which I can't remember the title of. Giant Monsters All Out Attack, is that what it was? The first one? So yeah, 2 Godzilla movies. One from 2001, and the other, I think it was from 2004. The Time Shadow says, I beg someone commissions the captain to do Morbius versus Madam Web. Yeah, that is it. King of the Monsters. Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. That was it. Whew. Classic Brickman says Final Wars is good. That's good that you think it's good. I'm back. Did I miss anything, says Robin? Depends when you left. I don't think I saw your comment when you left. Jess, is that you doing Lee right there? King of the Monster says, by the way, I'm commissioning these with Eric not watching the original, so this will be interesting. You mean you're commissioning these with me not watching the original 1954 movie, are you talking about? Or are you saying that I've not seen these movies and that's why you're commissioning them, which is interesting? Oh, that's what you're saying. Yeah, I've not seen the first 1954 one. I've wanted to, but I've not gotten around to it. Jason King says, what was better in your opinion? Invincible Season 1 or Arcane Season 1? Invincible Season 1. Much bigger shocks in there. I loved Arcane Season 1, especially the first 3 episodes when they were kids. It did lose some of its luster as it went, I thought. Like, there were some slower parts here and there that came up, but I still really enjoyed it. I'm glad they're just doing one more season, because I think the animation will take them way too long to keep doing more seasons, so it's fair to say, yeah, we're going to end it now, because when did it come out? Was it 2019 or something? A while back is what it was. I think I watched it on my projector. I can't even remember. Brad Fear says, you care about Venom 3 at all? No, I don't. That's not Venom. It's just some... it's a completely different character, just like posing as Venom. Oh, hey, Khan. Things are going good. How about with you? We've got 15 more minutes on the stream, so... yeah. 2019 doesn't feel so long ago. I know it doesn't. That's what the scary part, when really it was about 5 years ago. Approaching 6. Khan says, I'm currently on vacation right now at Mexico. Sorry I missed most of the stream. That's okay. You're normally here every stream, so if you're not here for one, that's perfectly fine. The Ninder says, I recently gave every single MCU movie a watch and then ranked even ranked a tier list based on them. Would you like to see it? Yeah, sure. Send it if you send it to me through Streamlabs like King of the Monsters always does with images. I'll actually display it on the screen for you. No, I've never watched Prison Break Time Shadow, but I've always heard of it. And my friend had seen it. I think my dad, did he see it? I can't remember. Robin, I think I've seen Grave of the Fireflies. That's with a bunch of kids, isn't it? Brad Fear says, was Joker 2's main problem being a musical? No. You could take the musical elements of the film out, it still would have problems that people have with it. Big Bash says, this was a great stream, Eric, but I feel I watched about enough. Bye, Eric. No problem at all, buddy. Take care. Thanks for joining. Who's excited for Superman Lois? Not me, personally, because I don't watch it. Too much CW-isms in there. Best Lord of the Rings character, says Classic Brickman. too many to count, but I've always liked Gandalf. I always thought Aragorn was a great character. Can't I just send over on chat it says the Ninder? You can if you have a text list, but if it's an image, you're going to have to send it through Streamlabs. Brad Fair says, I haven't seen Joker 2, don't plan to either. I haven't heard one good thing about it. But yeah, it was... There's good visual effects, I thought. King of the Monsters has done another donation. Let's see here. What did he say? He goes, alright, back to second place for best visual effects. This time it's 2019 films. Winner was the British film 1917. Here are the other nominees. Who deserves second place? Let me write this down first. Who deserved second place for best visual effects? Let's see. I think there were some good movies on that list, if I remember correctly. Alright, let's take a look. Gotta add the image. For some reason it's not letting me import it the quick way, so give me a second. We'll all take a look at what the best one was. You know, visual effects wise, which one won, which one should have won. Alright, so here's our nominees right here. We got Avengers Endgame, we got The Lion King 2019, we got The Rise of Skywalker, and then we've got, what was this movie called? It was The Irishman, wasn't it? The de-aging effects they're trying to talk about. Okay, Irishman loses. Had some good visual effects in there, but come on, we've seen better de-aging effects, and these aren't the greatest. You could tell that he looks a bit over-polished there, doesn't he, Robert De Niro? Okay, and then we got The Lion King, which looked good in place. It looked good at first, but then there were parts you could tell it looked fake. Then we also had The Rise of Skywalker. Good visual effects, but crappy movie. Then we had Avengers Endgame. Oh, man. I would say 1917 won, and it was right to win. The one after that, probably The Rise of Skywalker. I think they did a very good job with the effects they had and the time crunch they had to do it in. So I'd say probably The Rise of Skywalker if I had to pick. Alright then. So that's King of the Monsters 2021. That's what I pick. Classic Brickman. The problem with Endgame is that you could just tell. I watched Endgame on 4K recently. Not the whole thing. I went to the climax and stuff. You could just tell. You can just see the green screen so easily. And it's like already looking worse. Back in the time, I think it didn't look as good, but it was fine. Your eyes in 2019 accepted it. But now your eyes in 2024 can identify it. So, yeah. I'm aware, King of the Monsters. I said that 1917 was right to win first place, is what I was saying. Because I think the movie itself was one big visual effect. How they tried to make it all seem like one shot from beginning to end was very good. Brad Fair says, have you seen The Penguin yet? If so, what did you think of it? Yes, I have. I loved it. First episode's fantastic. Second episode was also great and fantastic as well. I cannot wait for episode 3, which is coming out tomorrow. I really can't wait to see. He does something really dark in each of these episodes, or dark stuff happens in each of these episodes. So I really can't wait to see what happens next. The Ninder says, I thought the green screen still wasn't noticeable in Endgame, to be honest. In the climax it is, when you see all that big action sequence. Even when it's not a big action sequence, you can just tell it's a green screen they're all around. You can just tell it's not a real background behind them. So yeah, good effects in there when they're doing good ones, but you could tell they had to rush it a lot because Marvel gave a year to them, to the VFX artists to complete it. And then the VFX artists, I think, they were crunching for time, like, as much as they could. And then Marvel says, yeah, the movie's coming out a couple of weeks in advance, I think it was, towards the end. And they were really annoyed with that, the VFX artists, because they were not given any they were not told that it was going to be released a couple of weeks earlier, and then they just had to be even quicker and faster. So, yeah, never nice with the VFX artists, and you can always tell it comes through in the work. I did watch a video on Instagram recently, and I shared it on Instagram, where they show the effects in Joker 1. There's a lot of VFX in that movie, and you can't even tell. Like, all the graffiti that is on the trains that are moving around in the subway, and on the city, and all the big, like, you know, Gotham City street parts. All that was done with CGI, but you can't even tell. So seamless. Seriously, look at the behind the scenes of what they did with the first Joker and where the CGI was used. It's impressive how amazing it looks, and you can't even tell if they put CGI in there. The Time Shadow says, when I get a job and can afford to do commissions, I might commission a Philosopher's Stone vs. Chamber of Secrets video. I think each pair of Harry Potter films is ideal for versus videos. Yeah, I have always thought that Harry Potter 1, 2, and 3 would do great for versus videos, and then 4, 5, 6, and 7 could potentially be done in versus videos. Potentially. That would be a huge, massive undertaking, so yeah, commissioning it would probably be the best course of action to get me to do it. Or maybe I could do it closer to when the new ones release. You know, the new show on HBO, I'll do versus videos of Harry Potter 1 versus Harry Potter 1 on HBO, and so on and so forth. Brad Fair says, you seen the Crow remake? No, but I do want to, because just for the action, because I hear it's very bloody and gory, and I'm like, okay, if I go in knowing that the movie's not going to be good, but I'm watching it for the action sequences, then that would be fun and interesting, I think. Okay, looks like we got another super chat here from King of the Monsters 2021. He says, alright, I'll lump 2018 and 2017 together because I think I know who will be your 2017 second place. In 2018, First Man won, Doubt You Saw It, I didn't. And in 2017, Blade Runner 2049 won. Alright. I don't even know if I'm going to show the first one because it sounds like you think you know what my answer is going to be. Yeah, I will say Avengers Infinity War. Because in the 2017 one, it's Avengers Infinity War. Hang on. Is that 2017 or 2018? Let me get the other one up. I think we've done this one, haven't we? I feel like I've seen this image. That's 2017. Yeah, in the 2017 movie, of course, buddy, it's War for the Planet of the Apes. War for the Planet of the Apes is the one that wins, because we got Guardians of the Galaxy 2, we got Kong Skull Island, and we've got The Last Jedi. Of course, War for the Planet of the Apes wins. So that one wins. I'll pick that. As for the 2017, was this one? Or 2018? 2018. As for 2018, I'll import that, because that one I feel like I can say something about. It'll be a bit more of an interesting comparison, but that first one, obvious. War for the Planet of the Apes won. Alright. Again, you're not going to... No, you will see me, of course, actually. I've just got this all here. You'll see part of me. Alright then, so here's our contestants here. So you're saying that on this particular one, First Man won. That was a space movie, I think, right? So now the contestants we have here in second place would be Avengers Infinity War, Ready Player One, the Solo Star Wars movie, or the Christopher Robin film. I have seen the Christopher Robin film, me and my brother. That was a fun film, that was. I would say it's between Infinity War and Ready Player One. I'll say Ready Player One. Ready Player One had tons of effects. They were meant to look like video games, but it was a visual feast. Avengers Infinity War was as well, especially with Thanos and everything. But seriously, that Ready Player One world was amazing, the way they did it. Because as much as I liked the effects in Infinity War, they were still the same Marvel effects we've always seen. Ready Player One was an experience. It was something that you don't get often, and it was great. The Nine says opinion on Ready Player One. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I was disappointed that the Iron Giant wasn't the actual Iron Giant character, but it was just someone playing as him. I thought that was kind of lame, took the excitement out of it. But yeah, that teaser trailer that came out for it was amazing, with the Willy Wonka music in there and everything. That was great. So yeah, I thought that was wonderful. Okay, 4 minutes, guys, then we're going to end the stream. So if you've got any questions you want to ask, if you want to get your questions submitted, then just like King of the Monsters, do a Streamlabs chat or a super chat, and you'll definitely get your question in before we end the stream. So yeah, all hands on deck right now. In fact, I'm actually going to switch over to this right now. So yeah. Jess says, I'm happy that Ready Player One was set in the video game world in live action and it wasn't cutting away just like Transformers, Godzilla, and Sonic. Yeah. Definitely. The Nine says, opinion on Ready Player One? Actually, no, I've already answered that. My bad. Elijah says, the only one I've seen is Christopher Robin, and the visual effects were quite realistic. They were, with Winnie the Pooh and the other, the other characters. They were good. But yeah, it was a nice movie, but I can't remember very much of it. But I do remember enjoying it. Me and my brother wanted a nice peaceful movie to watch, and that's what we saw. Griffin99 says, second best after Winter Soldier. Are you asking me second best MCU movie after Winter Soldier? It'd probably be Infinity War, I think. What is Time Shadow doing? Was it? I don't know what you're doing. What are you humming there? Classic Brickman says, are you going to watch the Georgie and Mandy spin-off show? I put it on my Instagram, on my stories. Yes, I will be watching that. I'm curious to see. They're going to do it in the Big Bang Theory format where they got a live audience, which is interesting to do with these characters. I really do hope that they keep Georgie's mother and sister there, because Georgie in the Big Bang Theory did say to Sheldon that when you left to go to Caltech or whatever, he says, when you left, I had to look after mum and dad on my own, my mum and my sister on our own. Our mum was a wreck, our sister was a dumb teenager. I had to keep the family together. So yeah, I'm really looking forward. I hope they delve into what that backstory was. That could be really cool. Sarah says, well, back again I am. That's great to see you're back, Sarah, because I said in 1 minute I was going to end the stream. And I was telling everyone, all hands on deck with your Streamlabs chats and your super chats, because that's basically it. Then I was going to end it. But in the meantime, let me just quickly answer King of the Monsters question, because he's done another £1 super chat, Streamlabs chat. So let's see, what is he asking in this question? Second to last one, 2015. I skipped 2016 because I don't think you watched some of the ones from 2016. In 2015, Ex Machina won. Much like Godzilla Minus One, Ex Machina was made on a small budget of 10 to 15 million for 800 VFX shots. That is impressive. So you're trying to say, what's the second place winner? Okay, the second place winner, I would say... Sarah, did you say to me you'll give me 20 to watch Severance? If you look on Patreon, I've actually got... You're on a Patreon, aren't you? If you look on Patreon, I've actually got a commission base there if you want me to watch a TV show. So if you're interested in that, let me know, and I'll find a way to get rid of any of the... If you message me on Instagram, I'll be able to do it for you, and I'll find a way to get rid of, you know, the Patreon tax that they'll charge, because on that level they do add a little fee for doing a commission. But if you want me to review the whole show, I will. If you do that, I'll watch the whole show if there's 8 episodes in it. Let's see. Image. So Sarah, if you want me to watch the whole show and review it and dedicate that video to you, I will. I'm already in the middle of doing that for some other viewers right now. Okay, now I've got your image here, King of the Monsters. Let me resize it. Okay, you're not going to see me for a bit, alright guys? Let me just take a look. So, what movies do we have? So the one that won was Ex Machina, and on that same year... Wow, did Ex Machina come out the same year as The Force Awakens? I didn't know that. That feels surprising. Alright, so the other movies that were in the special effects category, are you saying? Yeah, best VFX is Mad Max Fury Road, The Martian, and then the other one is The Revenant, or The Remnant, one of the two, And the final one is The Force Awakens, which did have great VFX. I'd say I've not seen The Remnant, or The Revenant, whatever it's called. I've not seen it, but I do have seen the bear sequence, which was amazing. Looked really good. But I'm going to take that movie out. The Martian had great effects, but I'm going to take that movie out. It really is between Mad Max Fury Road and The Force Awakens. Revenant, thank you very much for that, buddy. Oh wow, Sarah, thank you very much for that. I'll answer your question in a second, Sarah. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. The very generous donation. It's like... Give me a second, let me just look at you, Sarah. It's like, again, when... what was I saying? It's like you are the next Jake. I was before like, no one can top Jake. But then Sarah came in and she's already kind of like met him on that level. So I think she actually is. Yeah, so thank you very much, Sarah. I don't want to sound pushy because I'm always grateful whenever I get donations. But like I said, whenever you do bigger donations, it's always better to do those on Streamlabs. You'll get a really cool little nifty effect that will pop up on the screen and a sound effect. And the whole donation goes to me, rather than YouTube taking a big chunk out of your donation. So it's just, that's what I'm just going to say. Hope I don't come across ungrateful. I don't mean to if I do come across that way. Going back to the thing that, yes, King of the Monsters, I think you definitely have in that sense. I'm talking about the live stream donations. Alright, so I would say best effects... Because there were a lot of practical effects in Mad Max Fury Road, but there were a lot of practical effects in The Force Unleashed, Force Awakens as well. I'm going to say that the best effects... I need to see Mad Max Fury Road again, but you know what? I'm just going to say the best effects are in The Force Awakens. That movie did a really good job with the effects, I think, and they still hold up quite well. Yes, Jess, I am British. Okay then, so, Sarah, it's time to read your question. Let me write this down. And yes, I'm British, I'm not Texan, I just did that voice just for the sake of just messing around. Alright, that's a $24 donation. Thank you very much, Sarah, really I appreciate it. She says, I'm actually looking forward to reading Sarah's questions. She asks very good questions that really usually get me to think. What's one superhero movie that you're looking most forward to? Well, comic book movie I was looking most forward to was Joker 2, and then we all know what happened with that movie. I'll talk about it in my Versus video. And what superheroes do you think should have a movie? Well, the most anticipated superhero movie that I'm looking forward to right now is The Batman Part 2. What superhero movie do I think should have a movie? Superman. And we're finally getting that next year. So I'd say Superman is a movie that we should have. So that's the one I would go with. Or maybe a villain. What villain movie do I think we should have? I would like to see... We are getting a villain movie. We're getting Deathstroke and Bane get in a team-up movie. That's not one that I want to see, though. If I had to think of another movie, probably Two-Face. If Two-Face had a standalone movie, very much like what the Penguin is having right now, I think that would be very interesting. So in a Matt Reeves-style way, like what he's doing with the Penguin, which is a phenomenal show right now, I would like to see a Two-Face show done in that same vein. I'd really like to see that. Also, and Sarah says, also, what were you looking most forward to with Joker 2? Seeing more of Joker is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see more of Joker because we got Arthur Fleck in the first movie, but when he put that smile on his face at the end, it felt like that was the final part of his transformation. Like, he is the Joker now, fully realized. That's what I thought that was. And that's what made me love the ending. It was so tragic that we saw him turn into Joker the way he did. And it's like you don't want him to turn into Joker, which was so great. Because you really think that, yeah, the whole point I'm watching is to see him turn into the Joker. But it was such a testament to how great that movie was with its character study nature and the way it developed Arthur that you didn't want him to turn into the Joker. You wanted this guy to maintain his sanity. So when he turned into the Joker and drew that smile on his face, it was so sad to me. I actually had a little tear, like just a little tear come out of one eye when I was watching the movie in the cinema for the first time. So impactful. So I wanted to see more of Joker in this movie fully realized, but we didn't really get that, unfortunately. So that's what I wanted to see, and I was looking the most forward to, but we didn't get to see it, unfortunately. And we've got but thank you very much, Sarah, for that donation. You know I always appreciate your donation, so thank you very much. Very good questions as well. I always have a ton of fun answering them. And let us see what else. Adam Grunther's brought a very good point. Do you count Peacemaker as a comic book villain show? Yes, I do. I actually would have liked that Black Manta movie that we almost got. Yeah, it was going to be to do with the trench, wasn't it? That would have been fun and interesting. It was a secret project, but we never got anything with it. I hope they do that again in the future or something. Alright, King of the Monster has done a £1 Streamlabs chat. He goes, alright, last one. 2014. Interstellar won this year. I think I know which one will win, but one movie is a serious contender for the one that I think you'll pick. Ooh, I'm curious now. What do you think is the serious contender for the movie that I would pick? Because you knew with the War of the Planet of the Apes one, the 2017 one, you knew which one I was going to pick there, and you would have been right, because you were right. Let us see here. King of the Monsters, you knew exactly what you were doing here, didn't you? Just you wait, guys. I'll show you what the other nominees were. Give me a second. Add another image. Source, add source. 165. There we go. Alright guys, you're not going to see my face again, but this is what he sent me. Do you see what I just said about how he knew I was going to pick War of Planet of the Apes, and he was right? And then he sends me another one where he knows what I'm going to pick here. Okay, the first one is Dawn. The second one, I don't know. Is that Edge of Tomorrow? And the third one is Guardians 2. The fourth one is Days of Future Past. What is the second one? Is that Edge of Tomorrow? Is that Edge of Tomorrow, guys? That second... Oh, it's Winter Soldier. Oh. Okay, it's a toss-up between Days of Future Past and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. I would say... Dawn or Days of Future Past? I'll say Dawn of Planet of the Apes, because the apes were great in that. Like, they were a big step up from what they were in that first movie. So that's what I'd pick, guys, if I had to choose right there. So yeah. Alright, Sarah. Time to answer your question here. So, Sarah's done a $12 super chat. Sarah is so generous, seriously. She says, who's the grossest Batman villain, saddest Batman villain, smartest Batman villain, most evil Batman villain, pathetic villain, and the villain who has most potential and or underrated? Very good questions, Sarah. Very good questions. So, who's the grossest Batman villain? I would say... what was the grossest one? I was gonna... Oh, Sugar. Sorry, you guys don't see my face. Sorry there. Sorry. I just noticed that. Let's see. The grossest Batman villain. I know there's one, but he's not coming to my mind right now. The grossest Batman villain. There's a lot of gross Batman villains, I think, in many ways, but I would say the grossest, I think, would be Clayface. Clayface, I'd say, is the grossest one because of, you know, the way he messes himself up when he does all that stuff. But Joker can get really gross at times, but if you're talking about generally, Clayface. The saddest Batman villain, I would say that would be... The saddest villain, I'd say, would be Baby Doll. If you've watched the Batman the Animated Series, I'd say it's Baby Doll. Or it's Two-Face, because when Harvey's transformation to Two-Face is a tragic one. So I'd say it could be both of those two. The smartest Batman villain is, I think, Joker. Joker is the one who's very intelligent. He's always got a plan at the end of it. And if you look at The Dark Knight, super intelligent. Even Batman Return of the Joker, what he did to Robin, that requires a lot of intelligence. And so he's the most intelligent. Most evil Batman villain, again, Joker is what I would say. Pathetic villain, the Condiment King. I think we can all agree on that one. And the villain who has the most potential and or is underrated. I would say to that, the one who has the most potential and is underrated, I'd say is Scarface. Scarface is a character that we've not seen very often in these movies or shows and stuff, but I would like to see more of him. I think they can really do a very nice, good, grounded take on just the insanity of the ventriloquist. And I feel like they could do more cool stuff with it, and I'd like to see more. I want to see someone really tap into that insanity right there, I think. Ooh, but Adam Grunther is giving some good ideas. He goes, grossest is Professor Pig. Professor Pig is the grossest, actually, the more I think about it. Yeah, with what he does. Yeah, he's insane. He would make you feel sick watching him. Yeah, Professor Pig. Saddest is Two-Face. That's what I agree with. Two-Face and Baby Doll, if you watch that first episode. Smartest is Riddler. I don't think Riddler is that smart. He's very intelligent and smart, but Batman always beats him. But the one that Batman always gets stumped on is the Joker. So I think the Joker is the smartest. Pathetic is Kite Man. Really? More pathetic than the Condiment King? I think Condiment King is super pathetic. But then again, I've not seen the new Kite Man show. Or seen him very often in that Harley Quinn show, because I only watched a few episodes of it. So maybe. And the most underrated is Hugo Strange. That is another good underrated one. Adam says, I would also say Ra's al Ghul for smartest. That's another good one. He is a very smart villain. But the one that always gets Batman is usually the Joker. The Riddler, I've read a lot of comics. Riddler will get his hands dirty, but Batman will always end up catching him in the end. But with Joker, whenever Batman catches him, it's usually like a split second away from when Joker actually won, or in some cases he does win. Like if you read The Long Halloween, what Joker tries to do in that one was so funny. He's like, this town is not big enough for 2 psycho killers, so I'm just going to kill everyone. That was hilarious, that was. Solomon Grundy, I think, is a good villain, Monster King, but I don't know, he's too brainless and mindless to me. So he's a fun villain, but I wouldn't say he's underrated. But there are a lot of underrated villains, I think. Of course, I want to be like the animated series Mr. Freeze. Yeah, that would be also cool as well. But Sarah, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And Gregory, it's great to see you here as well. I'm working on 3 versus videos right now. I'm working on Joker 1 vs Joker 2, Beetlejuice 1 vs Beetlejuice 2, and the Puss in Boots script is almost done. That was a very hard script to write and crack down, but that script is almost done. Story segment is done. The action segment is done. The conclusion segment is almost done. And I'm just going through each of the segments, and that video is coming out. Hopefully, I'm going to try to get it edited and recorded soon. But like I said, I'm juggling 3 videos and a couple of other commission videos. But I'm getting them all in there. So, very busy month for me. Adam Grunther says, I didn't say Condiment King for pathetic because he wasn't actually a villain. He was just a brainwashed guy. Kite Man legit thought he was a threatening villain. Oh, really? That's interesting. I didn't know Kite Man legitimately thought that he was a terrifying villain. That is funny. Raymond says, hey Eric, I'm gonna go. I'm looking forward to 3 versus videos next week or next month. Well, I'm looking forward to making them, and I hope you guys really enjoy them. Thank you very much for watching, Raymond. I'm gonna be leaving soon anyway, so take care. Thank you very much. Gregory, I did not tell anyone what I thought of Joker 2 because I said I'm saving it for the versus video. So I was talking about what the general consensus is, but not necessarily what my opinion was. I'm saving that for the versus video, which is 65% written right now. He's not really a villain, but you could argue Jason Todd is the saddest villain. Jason Todd, there's something about him which I always find is pathetic, whiny. So yeah, I guess he could be the most pathetic villain, but then again, he's not always a full-on villain. But did you watch it? Did I watch what, Gregory? Did I watch what? Joker 2? Yes, I did. I did watch Joker 2. Yes. I watched it on Friday. I watched it on Friday when it came out, and it's been 2 days since. So if I wasn't doing this live stream or prepping this live stream today, I would have been going back to work on those other 3 videos. I would have. So, yeah. Alright, unless anyone else wants to ask any more questions or put in any more Super Chats or Streamlabs chats, I think that is about it. So, Eric, are you hyped for Smile 2? Funny you say Smile 2 because I actually got a I saw a trailer, a new trailer for it when I watched Joker 2 a couple days ago. They showed a new trailer. Now I was looking at my phone a little bit as that second trailer came on. It does look creepy, but I hope they just don't pull a bullshit move again like they did with the first movie with that silly ending. So that's what I hope. I hope they don't screw that up. That would not make me happy if they did that. Okay then, so 32 of you still here from the 80 plus of you that were here earlier. It was very nice that that a good chunk of you are still here. So it means a lot. It means that you guys really enjoy these streams and these questions and everything. Gregory says, I recently watched The Iron Giant for the first time. I thought it was a good 7 out of 10. That movie to me is like a high 9 or 10. I think it is a 10 for me. I loved that movie. Saw it as a kid. Me and my brothers and sisters loved that movie. We watched it over and over and over again. A weather forecast, a freeze in town. There you go, Jess. I read it. Are you happy? Arnold Schwarzenegger puns. I disagree, Gregory, because first of all, not only was it a great ending, but it kind of makes those robots scary, because if you watch the Iron Giant's dream nightmare that he had, it essentially shows what they do. They send one of them down to scout the place or whatever, and then all of them come down to invade and destroy the whole planet. So what it basically shows is that even if you bombed one of those Iron Giants and blew him up with a nuke, he still would survive. That makes him terrifying. So I think that if they made a sequel, an invasion would come and the Iron Giant would try to help fight them. And then they would have to find out a weakness. And a weakness that I think is that they would have to destroy them, have them fall apart, but then when they have that thing on the top of their head, that antenna which calls their pieces to come back together, they need that thing to come out so then the military can fire at it and blow it up, and then the Iron Giant robots cannot assemble themselves back together. That's what I think would be... I've been thinking what would it be like in an Iron Giant sequel, and that's what I think would happen, is that they would create that little bit at the top. Once they destroy it, that's it. Those robots are gone, and the Iron Giant would be there to help them. That's what I think if they made a sequel would happen. And ultimately, yeah, so I think that the fact that he's alive actually made them more terrifying as a species. I agree, Saeed. But wait, it won't be too much longer to wait now. Sydney, I've not seen The Wild Robot. I really want to, but for the UK it doesn't come out until mid-October, so I'll be watching it then. So everyone, that is basically it. Thank you very much, all of you, for your donations, for your Streamlabs chats. I appreciate all of that, as always. It was an absolute blast talking to all of you, and I'm so surprised that I was able to not give away any of my thoughts for Joker 2. I'm glad that I wasn't able to, because I was concerned I might give something away. So yeah, this was an absolute blast. Had a great time with you guys. Can't wait to chat with you next week. Thanks very much, as always, for watching. Please do consider joining me and becoming a YouTube member, because we've got tons of great content coming for those of you that do. And also, be sure to donate via Patreon, because like I said, if you do, you get additional content. And in my next Versus video, you can end up having your name in the credits if you donate. And you can donate from $1 up. It's entirely up to you. And you'll get your name in the credits of my next Versus video, plus additional content like trailer reactions and gaming videos and early access Versus videos when they come out. And my Let's Watch show as well. So, thank you very much, everyone. I love all of you, as always, as you all know. And I will catch all of you very soon. Take care.